What's up guys, welcome back to Green Ups Airsoft. Today we are going to be making another Loadout for Lanes video. And today we're going to be doing it on LA Airsoft. This I've personally bought a couple things from here. They do very good work here, and we're not sponsored by them though. So today we're going to be doing a rifle HPA video, and the rule for today's video is it has to stay under $1,000 because rifle HPAs are very, very, very expensive. Now, you could just go for something like the Heretic Labs HPA gun. You could go for the Heretic Labs Article 2. This is a very nice gun. However, that would be cheating because we're building an HPA gun. Now, this will only be the HPA gun. It won't be anything else. Just the gun. I'm not going to show any BBs or masks or anything. It's just going to be the gun. So I'm thinking about building this gun from scratch. So first we need to choose our HPA engine. And there are a couple different ways you can go for this. You can go Polar Star. They have the Polar Star Jack. I think actually today we're going to do the Polar Star Jack. That sounds good. And we're also going to want a new IGL, which is basically where it runs from your... Okay, so they don't have the jack, but that's okay because it's not really necessary. But the one that's currently installed, you can probably get this from Amped Airsoft, but the one that's currently installed to the jack is kind of flimsy, and if you're not careful with it, you might break it. But make sure you get an upgraded one of these. I showed you guys Amped Airsoft last video. You can very likely pick one of these up from there. This is pretty much Amped's specialty. So next we're going to want our upper. An M4 upper. So they have the Prism upper. I've heard some good things about. For today's video, we're going to be going with the LA Innovations. This is pretty much all going to be LA Kappa or whatever they call themselves now. It's going to be that. So I'm thinking we go for a nice purple color. So this is the outer barrel. And then we're going to choose the Prism upper, which is a very good upper. And we're already pretty pricey. So hand guard. I already know which one I have. So we're going with the 155mm handguard. They also have a 185, but this is about an inch shorter, and it's a little bit less expensive than the other one. I also don't think it's on sale. Oh, wait, no, it is on sale. Okay, so now that we have all that, we're going to want our outer barrel. So, our inner barrel. AG inner barrel. Okay, so let's look at this real deal. So we went somewhere from 150 to 160 because it was a 155. I think it's okay if you go with the 160. It shouldn't extrude too much out of out of your gun, but it's okay if it extrudes a little bit. It probably won't cause any problems. Okay, now we're going to need our hop-up unit. And there are a couple of different options you can go for hop-up unit. However, going to want M4 hop-up unit. And the Max is the best hop-up unit, in my opinion, for any M4 AG or pretty much anything. And make sure you get the one that's 4 HPA, the M4P. Make sure you get the one that's 4 HPA, or else it might cause problems with your gun. So there we go. Okay, and now we need our bucking. We're going to go with a 4 wad bucking. And 4 wad friction bucking. These are some of the best buckings I've been told about. I've heard they're very, very good, and they've been recommended to me by lots of different techs over the years. So we're going to want a 4 wad bucking. Okay, and now we have a couple more things we need to get. We need to get the gearbox shell. We need to get the trigger. We need to get the battery. We need to get the mag release, the lower, and the grip. Oh, and the stock, of course. Or, we don't need the stock, but it's helpful. So, with about 300 left, that's going to be kind of hard, but I'll make it work. So, M4 grip. There are a couple different ways you can go for this. We're just going to choose a PTS EGC compact grip. Those should be pretty good. And we're also going to go for a PTS stock, because I've heard some very good things about those. Okay, so we're going to go back to HPA engines, actually. Engines. Okay, so there are a couple different things you can go to. However, the Polar Star Fusion engine is a fully complete drop-in kit, and that's going to save you quite a bit of money compared to getting an HPA engine and getting a Polar Star jack, because HPA engines or like outers can be very expensive. But we now have 978. So instead of doing an LA Innovations Prism upper, we're going to do EG M4 upper and lower set together, and see if they just have a cheap little, like, or not really cheap. So the G M4 lower is out of stock. So I have a fun little surprise. We're going to do a G&G combat machine to help make this a little less expensive, so we can get rid of the stock, we can get rid of the grip, and pretty much we won't need anything but the engine. Okay, so we can get rid of the bucking, can get rid of hop up. Okay, so we're also going to get rid of that. So we are going to go back to the Polar Star jack, because it is relatively cheap for the price. Okay, and my computer is about to die. So, let's go find HPA line. Okay, so I'm going to go with an HPA hostile line because I've heard some pretty good things about those, and hostiles are relatively good company for HPA stuff. And we're also going to want an HPA regulator, and we're going to need an HPA tank. Here we go. Okay, so we have all our stuff. Okay, and now we need just a few other things, like we are going to need a battery, HPA battery. You can get HPA battery. It's a small little white or little brick battery. Lipo battery. And this is a small little lipo battery. There are a couple different ones sold. I think though that it's wired to Dean's. Now, if you were actually buying this, make sure that you get the right one. However, I am like 95% sure it's wired to Dean's. So this one should work. However, if it doesn't, you can probably find one on Amped Airsoft. And that should be about everything you need for your HPA build. And it is just under or just over 850. So it was under 1,000. However, it was over 700. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more like this, please be sure to comment down below what videos you would like to see next. Bye.